Hello students, here I am again. So I want to talk to you a little bit about the Museum of Modern Art. Some of you may have already watched the first part, and obviously it's very different from the Metropolitan because this contains artwork that is more avant-garde, so to speak. So right away as you get in, you see this Barnett Newman's sculpture, which is a very unusual sculpture. It's called a broken obelisk. And it looks like a pyramid shape, and then on top of it, an upside down formation called an obelisk. So, it looks like it could break in the middle any minute. So, I think that's an interesting piece. The 60s produced these strange new pieces of artwork, both in painting and sculpture and otherwise. Then you can find here some older work, which was considered the original modern art, which is the Impressionists, like Van Gogh and Matisse paintings that you will recognize because you already saw some. Gauguin. I don't know how much you know about Gauguin. He's a very interesting character. He was a banker. He used to live in Paris with his family. And then at one point he decided that his life was miserable and he didn't want to continue the way he lived his life, and he took himself up and moved to Tahiti, leaving his family, the kids and wife and money and everything behind. So he lived in Tahiti. He painted these most amazing paintings, and that's how what he became famous with those paintings. Very colorful, hot colors, stylized figures of Tahitian women mainly. He took a new wife and he created himself a new life. So sometimes, actually quite often times, it is, I don't know, this little bit, I don't know. I like the beautiful artwork. I'm all for it, and then I find out something crazy about the artist. I'm like, I didn't want to know that. I don't know whether it is good to know it or not good to know it. It's just what it is. That's who he was. Would he have not moved to Tahiti, we would not have had his most amazing painting. So check him out, Gauguin. Very, very interesting. Then, I love this guy, Brancusi. He was a Romanian by origin. Beautiful, beautiful, stylized sculpture. This woman, this head of the woman looks like an egg-shaped. Very beautiful. And then you have the Fauvists, who painted in very wild colors. Faux means what it really means is wild beasts, and the reason why they are called that is that in those times in the 19th century, people were painting very academically. Like those beautiful paintings at the Met that you have seen, very realistic, very beautiful, right? And then these painters, they decided that they tired of that style of painting. They didn't want to continue to do the same thing as what everybody else did. So they started painting using these crazy colors, like non-realistic, wild colors. And so nobody wanted to exhibit their artwork. But then somebody ended up organizing an exhibition for them where they could display their artwork. And an art critic, whose name escapes me now, said about them that they were wild beasts, and that's how that was coined, that expression. Then you have these large, beautiful paintings by Henri Matisse, a French artist whom I greatly admire, not only because of his most amazing art, but also because of how he lived his life. He actually, as he got older, he became very, very sick, and he was in a wheelchair, and and he had this terrible rheumatism that deformed his fingers, his hands. He couldn't hold the brush anymore, so he was just cutting out shapes, and his assistant was arranging it for him. But he never gave up making art. And even after that, when he had a hard time even sitting in the chair, he was laying down in his bed, and he had this long stick, and his assistant would put paper on the ceiling or on the wall beside his bed, and he would just draw with holding this stick. So I really admire people like that who never give up no matter what. Life is so hard sometimes, and it would be just so easy to just give up, but not a good attitude to give up, because we need to go on, right? No matter what. Like even now we have this crazy situation with the COVID. We are stuck at home, and it's horrible, and we would like to go out and go to school, go to the park, continue our lives, but we can't because there is this virus and we don't want to die. So we sit at home. But we don't give up, right? We can go to museums, so we look virtually. We go virtually on these amazing tours, right? And we learn so much. What else is there? So much is there in this museum of modern art. A lot. Cubism, that's another era. You will see, Cubism, if you listen to it, what is it? Something made of cubes, right? Geometric shapes, cubes. So actually the first guy who came up with this was Braque. His name was Braque, Georges Braque. However, Picasso was his friend, and Picasso liked to steal ideas from people, like he stole from Matisse also. Anyways, so he also stole the idea from Braque, who started the Cubism, and then Picasso made it famous. They made these geometric shapes.